cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We begin today in Colombia, where presidential hopeful Dr. Urbi has been shot 3 times at a rally over the weekend. He is seen as a rising star in Colombian politics and is set to challenge President Petro for his office in the coming elections. From BBC, quote, Petro urged Colombians to wish Urbi well on what he described as a day of pain in a video addressed to the nation. There was a political difference between Urbi and the government, but it was only political, he said. What matters most today is that all Colombians focus with the energy of our hearts, with all our will to live, on ensuring that Dr. Miguel Urbi stays alive, the president added. Urbi, a right-wing critic of Petro, announced his candidacy for the next year's presidential election in October. He has been a senator since 2022. End quote. Next, we travel across the Atlantic Ocean to the Ivory Coast, where Jean-Louis Billon, the former finance minister, has put in his bid to lead the opposition party in the upcoming elections. From Reuters, quote, the question of who will carry the mantle of the main opposition party risks adding to tensions in the world's top cocoa producer, which has had a history of election-related violence, including a brief civil war after the 2010 presidential contest that killed about 3,000 people. In an interview with Reuters in the commercial capital, Abidjan, Billon 60 blamed party officials for the handling of legal challenges to Thiam's candidacy and did not rule out the possibility of presenting another party, though he said it was too early to make such a move. I'm asking for the PDCI's support, he said. End quote. And then back across the Atlantic, the new Canadian government has pledged to reach 2% of the national GDP to meet NATO's defense commitments by 2030, a full 2 years ahead of its previous estimate. From Reuters, quote, speaking to reporters later, Carney said the government's new plan includes a cash increase of 9.3 billion Canadian dollars for this fiscal year, which he said will bring Canadians' defense spending to the NATO threshold. Some of it would be immediately spendable on personnel and equipment. This would include investing in new submarines, aircraft, ships, armored vehicles, and artillery, as well as new drones and sensors to monitor activity in the Arctic and seafloor approaches to the country, he said. Carney said the government would also create a new defense procurement agency, following criticisms of current processes as slow and unwieldy. The agency would move more quickly in making procurement decisions and would focus on building domestic capacity, end quote. Skipping across the Pacific, we turn to North Korea, where a naval vessel within the country has been spotted in a port appearing to receive drastic repairs. From Reuters, quote, the destroyer that suffered a failed launch was moved to the grave dock of Rajan Dockyard, also known as Rajan Ship Repair Factory, by June 8th, the Center for Strategic and International Studies said based on satellite imagery. The Reuters Tariff Watch newsletter also mentioned that state media reported on Friday that experts would examine the hull for the next stages of the restoration to be carried out at the Rajan dockyard for 7 to 10 days. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who witnessed the failed launch of the destroyer, called the accident a criminal act. Next, we travel south to a trial that we have covered previously of an alleged mushroom killer who has finally taken the stand to tell her side of the story. From BBC, quote, she has previously admitted she misled her guests into believing that she may need cancer treatment, telling the jury she did so as a cover for weight loss surgery she had planned to have but was too embarrassed to disclose. Prosecutor Nanette Rogers, however, put to her that there was no health issues to discuss and that she had invited Simon and his relatives over to kill them. She had even prepared a spare toxic meal in the case Mr. Paddington changed his mind and came over, Dr. Rogers suggested. Over and over this week, Mrs. Patterson has denied these allegations, often becoming emotional as she told the court she loved the lunch guests like her own family. And we end today in Italy, where a recent failing of a nationwide referendum has boosted the current government and shown the resiliency of Giorgia Meloni's ruling coalition. From Reuters, quote, low voter turnout on Monday sank Italian opposition referendum proposals to ease citizenship laws and tighten job protection rules, with senior figures in the coalition of Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni saying the outcome boosted the government. Near final data from the polling stations in Italy showed only around 30% of eligible voters had cast their ballots at the end of the two-day voting, far short of the 50% plus one of the electorate needed to make the vote legally binding. And of course, if you want to check out any of today's articles, you can find all of them in the link in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also down there, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Podcast, Podvine, as well as the Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip, where I post the links to these episodes on Tuesday and Thursday at noon, and the normal podcast comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where I also post the links there on that Twitter handle, so you can come directly to them. And that one that comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a little bit more U.S. focused. So with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.